Seems good. Okay, so reset my timer because I'm gonna need to do that. And hello and welcome. I'm basically planning on doing a fully commentated run of Blinx 2 Masters of Time and Space. So the idea behind this is it's not going to be a guide, but I'm going to give a little bit more insight than I normally do into what I'm doing during the run. And hopefully that's interesting to people. It's going to be a no reset run. I'm going to do this on take one. So whatever time I get, which is going to be more realistic to situations where I'm going to be like this. So I think without further ado, here goes. Right, so starting off with Blinx 2, there's a lot of tutorials. You can just skip them all, but you have to skip them individually, really annoyingly. Yeah, there's 7 at the start, which is quite annoying. One of the big downsides of Blinx 2 over a lot of games is that there's a lot of tutorials and text boxes and the game basically babying you along, probably because, well, Blinx 1 kind of had the opposite problem, that it's hard to figure out what to do at times, I think. That the game only really gives you the bare minimum, and I kind of think that Artoon took the criticism of the first game a little bit too seriously. So anyway, after completing the first tutorial, which that wasn't too great to be honest, but you could only lose a few seconds on the tutorial, I'm going into Sweepers 1 Mission 1, which we're not going to do anything special on. There is a strat to skip Mission 1, but it's a little bit too difficult for any percent runs. I'm sure it's been done on ILs, but I'm more of a single segment runner. I'm just going to kill these guys. Take the pause as intended, complete the puzzle as intended. Rather than going towards the tom-tom gunners at the end of the level, though, I'm going to go take a bomb from down here. Jump onto this railing. And jump up here. Grab these 2 bombs. And then I can finish the level. It's just a little bit quicker than going towards the end, mainly because you skip some text boxes. Over here I'm going to basically blow myself up so I can skip the end of that pause animation, so it goes by a little bit quicker. And that's Sweepers 1 Mission 1. It's a pretty simple level, nothing really too unorthodox. Obviously played through as quickly as I can, but there's only so much you can do other than there's a wall clip you can do, which is really challenging, and I think we're a long way away from having to do that in our runs because there's still, minutes of potential time save to go. But obviously getting that is going to be annoying. So up here, rather than going across the bridge, I'm going to go over here, climb up this building, and jump across to where the Carrowfish are because we're going to get our batteries off the Carrowfish. One thing I will say is that in Blinx 2, the majority of missions have 2 ways of completing them. So in the first mission, you can either grab 3 bombs, or you can grab a key from the tom-toms at the end. In this mission, you can either grab 2 batteries from the Carrowfish, which I'm going to do here, or you can grab 4 batteries off the tom-toms. Obviously 2 is faster than 4, and to be honest, the Carrowfish are in a pretty good location. Sadly, I got not the best RNG with the positioning of the crates. It can, basically 2 crates will spawn out of any of those 5 Carrowfish. And ideally, the closer to the start that they are, the better. I'm losing about 15 seconds there due to just bad luck, really. Nothing that I can do about that. This boss is quite simple. You just kill them as intended. To be honest, most bosses, I don't think there's anything special about any of the boss fights, really. This boss can only be killed in 2 hits. 3 hits in... Well, technically 4 hits. Because you have to hit them once to knock them down, and then you have to hit them again after that text box appears to deal damage to them. It takes 2 hits to kill him, or 3 in normal mode, but we play on easy mode because it's faster. To be honest, easy mode, another benefit of it is you basically take half damage from everything, which is really useful for damage boosting throughout the run. Saved a 0.1 of a second on my PB there, which is pretty nice. And then we're just going to finish the level and have more tutorials. Sweepers 1 is always a little bit of a basic level. It's there's nothing really... Well, to be fair, there are the there's the Carrowfish batteries, which you can lose, 15 seconds. You can lose 25 if you get the worst possible RNG, which is to have a battery spawn the very first and last Carrowfish. But if that doesn't happen, then you should be around the 5-minute mark. You can be just under 5 minutes if you get perfect RNG, but that did not happen to me, unfortunately. So I'm 5:12, 12 seconds probably behind. Well, my splits say that I've lost about 25 seconds, but I'm not going to gold every split because there's just a lot of things that need to go right, and some of them are a bit too precise, like the 2-frame. Basically, in these tutorials, 2 of the tutorials in the game have a section where you have a 2-frame window to pause to get an early skip. One of them is there, and I missed it, unfortunately. I also missed it earlier as well. It was in the melee tutorial where they explain the concept of melee. And then coming up is one of the hardest strats in the run. Hopefully I get it first try, but it's not guaranteed. That's why the split's called Dead Run, because it's one of those strats that requires a lot of practice. I think I'm pretty consistent at it now. I'd say that I probably get it within the first life about 70% of the time. But if you don't get it, obviously you have to restart from this checkpoint over here right at the start of the level, and you can lose about 20-30 seconds each time you die to this, which is quite a lot of time to lose. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to basically bait these guards into a certain location, and then I'm going to use them to damage boost me up here. Which I did first try. And then hopefully I can get a cutscene skip here, which is not guaranteed. I didn't get it, unfortunately. Hopefully that works. If it doesn't work, then I lose a lot of time. It did work. And then I'm going to grab these warp tunnels over here, which is a pretty new... It's a new strat. It's newer than the... It's newer than the 80% world record, because it's a few seconds faster to grab these warp tunnels and do a wall clip over here. I'm going to use a decoy here to stop myself getting shot more. And then throw a warp tunnel through this wall, because you can do that. Clip through. Shoot this sweeper because he drops some milk, which you can use to heal. Hopefully you'll see the time save in the split if I'm doing this new route. Hopefully it will be a gold split. Throw that forward. It wasn't a very good throw, unfortunately, but it is what it is. And then these guys are going to shoot me forwards, basically damage boosting me to the end of the level. Hopefully they hit me twice. They do, which is perfect. And I golded there by 6.7 seconds from the new route. Again, yeah, not all those new strats have been implemented. That probably saves about 6-7 seconds. Maybe a little bit more if done optimally. which isn't really enough to, you know, to cause everyone to start going back to the game. These versus modes can be quite challenging because you really have to rely on getting good RNG. Luckily, I got the perfect RNG here and got a bazooka straight away, which is the best weapon to get. I'm going to use first person mode here now to shoot this guy, because he can be annoying to lock onto, and I missed that shot, which is really bad. I now need to find ammo or a new weapon. Probably shouldn't have grabbed that, but I get some money from grabbing that, and I can also one-shot. If I didn't rush that shot with the bazooka earlier, I probably could have killed the guy a little bit faster. Honestly, the reason why I rushed that shot was because I've been running a lot of New Game Plus speedruns recently, of which you start off with a bazooka, and the fourth guard is always positioned perfectly for you to kill him easily there with the lock on. But because it took me a little bit of time to grab that bazooka, I wasn't able to... That guard wasn't in the position that I was hoping he'd be. He's further down on the beach, which caused me to miss my shot. Between every single level in the game, you do have to do a tutorial, or as the game calls it, a rank up exam, but it's just a tutorial really. Because I still have 2 bars of health here, I'm going to... You can sometimes heal in this level, but obviously you lose a little bit of time by doing so. Because I still have 2 bars of health, you can sometimes end up with 1 bar if you get hit by the bomb on the bridge. If you take a different route out of Sweepers 1 Mission 2, again it depends on RNG. But most of the time you'll be taking a different route, which can involve you getting hit twice if you mess up. This level again is, unlike TomTom 1, is more like Sweepers 1. We do things basically as intended. This mission has 2 ways to beat it, which is either pressing a bunch of buttons in the level, but each button causes a text box to play. Please work. Yes, okay, awesome. So that bomb shot, I'm gonna fire a bomb across the map. The benefit of bombs is that they follow gravity, so that once they hit their target, they'll fall to the ground and then they'll blow up. They also have an area of effect radius, so you don't need to be super precise with your shots. I mean, you can use that to our advantage there by shooting one of the statues from the very end of the level. Which allows us to save a little bit of time, because it means we don't have to open a door, which means we can skip a text box. Unfortunately, sometimes you can get a pause from those octoballoons at the start of the level. I did not get a pause from the octoballoons at the start of the level, so I'm actually going to lose a little bit of time here from that. I'm going to use my pause here to get past this arrow trap. You can actually damage boost through this arrow trap, but unfortunately you get a text box right at the end of the level saying that, hey, you can damage boost through this arrow trap. And I just hit myself, which is absolutely awful. I'm going to have to push this button to open this door. Actually, I'm just going to... Yeah, whatever, I'll do that. That's fine. I'm going to lose quite a bit of time now, because I'm going to grab this health over here. Although, in hindsight, I'm realising I probably should have just killed myself. And that would have worked fine. Probably would have been faster than healing up. But it is what it is. This level's, for some reason for me, it's one of my... It's kind of like the bane of my existence, really. I always lose a stupid amount of time for this mission. For stupid reasons. It really shouldn't be that difficult. And this is the only glitch we're going to do within this level, which is basically just abusing invincibility frames that you get after a checkpoint to walk across that spinning blade. Yeah, at this point, my run would basically be a dead run if I was resetting now. After that 40-second time loss. About 10 of that being from not getting a pause at the start, and then 30 seconds from grabbing that milk. Definitely wasn't worth doing in hindsight, but I thought... I've actually never tried doing that before. I thought that maybe grabbing that milk would be... Well, I actually forgot that I had to retry, which is a rookie mistake of me, but I guess that's what happens sometimes. Sleepers 1 Mission 2, again, has two ways of finishing. One way is to basically kill a bunch of Kerafish around the area and grab 4 time keys. And what that'll do, it will open up this portal in this area. But you can also just hit the highest point of the pyramid. Which is a lot quicker than getting all the time keys. To be honest, I don't even know where all the time keys are. It's, for some reason, stupidly hard to do. Compared to... Unfortunately, I'm going to miss this cycle for this wall, so I'm going to lose a little bit of time there. And then I'm going to jump over this arrow trap and fail to, if you... Yeah, I knew earlier on I had to heal because the spinning blade would have killed me, but... I probably could have just died to the spinning blade and it would have been okay. And I kill these guys and take their time controls for money. Money isn't really as big of a thing in this game as it is in Blinx 1. But it is still most definitely a mechanic that is somewhat important because for the cats you need... ideally you want to grab the sweeper pack. And for the tom-toms, ideally you want to grab as much health as possible for damage boosting strats later. That wall, I'm actually going to trigger the reactive impossible so I can take... I can use the missiles from the missile launcher to kill that octoballoon in one shot rather than 2 shots. And then over here I'm actually going to use, rather than using the intended fast forward to jump over the wall, you can actually just make the jump without using fast forward. And then over here I'm going to use my fast forward now and hit this button as quickly as possible, because by doing that it allows me to skip a cutscene over here, which happens when you hit the ground during this final segment. And that's mission 2. I actually saved a second somehow, even though I lost 7. Which is quite a lot to lose, but it is what it is. This fight is a big RNG moment, unfortunately. You can actually punch him to get him to release his crystals, and then hopefully they get dropped in good locations, which I could have planned a little bit better and probably grabbed 2 rewinds, but I only grabbed 1, which means I'm going to have to do another collection cycle than I need to, probably. And then you need to punch these little mini guys, which, honestly, I think that was probably the worst job I've ever done at killing them. We call them onions for some reason. I guess because they look a bit like onions, maybe. This is actually terrible. But what I'm hoping is I can grab these 4 to get 2 rewinds. Which means on the 3rd cycle, I won't need to do another collection. I can just use the rewind right off the bat. Killed the guys pretty quickly there. I think there's a pause around here somewhere, but I don't see it. So I'm just going to have to use my rewind and hopefully kill these guys in one cycle, which I did. I'm losing some time compared to a perfect fight, but you're always going to lose time compared to a perfect fight, because if you want a perfect fight here, you have to have the crystals drop in perfect locations, and then after that you need to kill the onions very quickly, and you also need to grab 2 rewinds on one of the collection cycles so that you can skip a collection cycle. It's best to do that on the first because you can skip an animation if you do it on the first for the second. The animation where he like ground pounds and sweeps up all the crystals. I'm about 30 seconds behind now, unfortunately. But that's going to be the way of the cause when you're doing no reset. This is actually my first run of the day, so hopefully I can get a good time. Hopefully I can get a sub 110. Although I thought I was saying that my PB is only just a sub 110. I walked right there because I thought I was playing as time sweepers for some reason. And then I've got to do a tutorial again, like you do between every single level. Tom Tom 2 again, unfortunately, is a mission that... it's a very slow mission. We do have some skips for it in Mission 1. Mission 2 is done as intended. Although, saying that, it still takes a long time. It's a little bit of a boring mission, to be honest. But it's hard to lose a lot of time on. Unless you fail bag skip, which is one of the strats that I'm going to do in this level. This level doesn't actually have two ways to complete. It only has one way, which is to put treasure on the scale. Just going to complete the level as intended. For the majority of it. I'm always mashing A whenever there's text boxes. I try and kill that guy so that I minimize as much time loss as possible from killing him, so I try not to stop moving while I'm shooting him, which is obviously better. What's good now though is our weapon got replaced, after doing the tutorial, our weapon got replaced with a PIG-38 from a slingshot, which is... It's a lot better than... Well, the slingshot can only put enemies to sleep. This weapon actually two-shots most guards and will three-shot most time sweepers. So it's a pretty... It's honestly one of the better weapons in the game. Because it has decent ammo and it does a lot of damage. We're going to complete this puzzle as intended. And then what I'm going to do, rather than pushing the mirror to create the bridge, I'm going to grab this treasure over here and I'm going to move it into the corner over here. And I'm going to use this as a platform to skip the entire next room. We call the strat bag skip because you use a bag to skip the room. And to be honest, it's quite an easy strat, although I have still failed it before. Unfortunately, there's a text box over there. You can skip it, but skipping it is honestly detrimental because you'll still end up getting it later on. I was hoping I could make that cycle. I kind of did, but wasn't the best. And then I'm actually going to place down this bag on top of the scale rather than doing the intended puzzle at the end. You're actually supposed to use that bag to push the green button to disable that spike trap, and then grab an extra bag of treasure. Well, grab 4 extra bags of treasure that are heavy enough to the left and right. Combine them together, and then complete the mission. But we're actually going to use that treasure from earlier. For some reason, it's heavy enough to complete the mission, which is pretty useful, to be honest. We're just going to do a standard mirror puzzle over here. It's not very complicated. It's the same thing every single time, so not too difficult. Hopefully, yep, the game registers it as complete. Apparently, this way of completing the puzzle is faster than the way I've always been completing it, so I'm hoping for a little bit of time save here. But again, this level is pretty simple. Mission 2 is done as intended. Like, there isn't really a difference between doing it casually and competitively, other than we're not actually going to take out the guards at the end. Because for some reason, you can just walk right by them and pick up the bag and they won't care. I got it by 2 seconds, which I think is due to the faster way of completing that puzzle. Yeah, there's a guy telling me to kill the sweepers, but there's no reason for me to kill the sweepers. They're not going to bother me at all. The guy's telling me to do exactly what I was already doing. You may have noticed in the previous level, I pushed one of those blocks to move the moving block down a level. That just saves us a little bit of time on this mission, because we can get it on the way down, and we'd have to press it anyway to move the moving block down. To be honest, the majority of TomTom levels involve getting a bag of treasure, finding a bag of treasure, and getting out of the level. Pretty simple like that, to be honest. But at this point of the game, it's not the most interesting level in the game, unfortunately. Just because it's quite long. At least it's not difficult, though. You can't really lose a lot of time on it. Unlike the next mission, which is, it was always historically the big reset point of the run. And to be honest, until pretty recently, well, even like 4 months ago, it was the hardest level in the game in terms of reset points. But luckily, one of the runners discovered a way to make one of the strats a lot easier in TomTom 3. I'm probably going to get hit here. I didn't get hit there. Okay. I thought that falling rock would fall on top of me, but it didn't. I lost 1.2 seconds there compared to optimal route. Mostly due to movement, really. Or maybe load times, who knows. Probably movement, though. Again, these versus mode segments are rather RNG. Again, I got perfect RNG again, and got the best weapon in the game. Or, well, the best weapon in the game for these segments. There's a weapon called the crossbow, which is... I fired 2 shots there, which I probably shouldn't have done. That's a habit from New Game Plus speedruns, where you can basically... Okay, good. I got him. And... got him, and then... This guy, I'm gonna go... I got him. Nice. That was actually a gold split. Was pretty good, to be honest. If you use first-person mode to kill the enemies, they won't input read you. But if you don't use first-person mode, they will attempt to jump and dodge your shots. But obviously, first-person mode, you have to manually aim, and there's no aim assist, so it can be quite challenging to do. And then this is TomTom 3. Again, historically one of the run killers of the run. I can still lose a lot of time to this level. I can also save a bit of time on my PB. 19 seconds, it's saying. But there hasn't been any optimization since my PB. Just going to skip the tutorial as normal. And then we're going to go shopping for the only time in the run right here. We're going to buy the firework because it's dirt cheap and you can use it to damage boost yourself. And we're going to buy some health, which we're going to need for the damage boosting. I was able to buy an average amount of health there. Not the best, but a little bit. And then what we're going to have to do here as well is change our height and shoulder width, which is required for a strat in this level. My guy was a little bit too short. And now that I've adjusted his stats correctly, the skip in this level should work. Tom Tom 3 is a level that we've broken to quite a significant extent. Like, we don't really do this level anything like how the game intends it to be done, which is actually great because you skip all of the text boxes from a certain point onwards, which saves you a lot of time. And I got that strat first try. You have to basically use your firework to damage boost you across this gap. It's not the most difficult strat in the world, but we do sometimes mess it up. I'm going to take the health here because I don't have the most. So I'm just going to use that because it's on the way. And I got this out of bounds first try. Yeah, the whole reason why I adjusted my height is because that out of bounds only works if your height is at a specific level. Luckily, it's not too hard ever since we discovered that shoulder width also makes the strat a lot easier. So this split should be going on towards a gold split. Should be saving close to all of that 20 seconds because I've done this perfectly basically. I did trip up on the treasure chest, which will probably lose me a little bit of time, but not too much. Yeah, this level has ice physics, which are always fun. Yeah, as you can see, after we clip through this wall, there's absolutely no text boxes at all, because the game still thinks we're in mission 1. So nothing is loaded down here, or none of the text box triggers are loaded at least. I'm going to throw a warp tunnel over there and then use it to skip walking with the bag. To be honest, that wasn't the fastest I've done that, but it was alright. Throw warp tunnel down there to get to the end of this area. Basically what we're doing is we're going to complete mission 2 before completing mission 1. I nearly forgot to grab that pause because in the New Game Plus speedrun you do not need to grab that pause. And I've been running a lot of New Game Plus recently. Anyway, what we're basically going to do is we're going to move this treasure bag into the area so the game knows that we've completed mission 2. And then now we're going to go complete mission 1. And what should happen is because we move the treasure bag into the area, the game's going to tell us, oh hey, look, get the tank parts. But because the tank parts are already there, we'll get the mission end cutscene straight away as soon as we finish it. I actually golded by 3 seconds there, so I'm actually on pace with my world record. Hopefully this commentated run ends up being world record. That would be amazing, to be honest. This fight can be a little bit annoying. We have to kill them as intended, and if you don't get any ammo drops, this fight can be quite challenging. Because, especially if you miss shots like that. Wasn't the best, but I've grabbed the ammo that I needed, and I finally took him down off his first phase, and now I can just go hammer into him. I recently realized that if you keep your shots all within the central circle, your tank is a lot more accurate. Useful tips to anyone from the Blinx community watching this? I forgot to reload, unfortunately, so I wasted a little bit of time there. I'm actually losing quite a bit of time on that fight. Mainly because of the pillars were slow, and I'm used to be really good at this fight. And I got a gold split on my TV. But I have still saved time overall on the split, which is good. Next up is Sweepers 3, which is the only time you go shopping for time sweepers. Hopefully I collected enough money that I can afford to buy a level 2 sweeper and a super pack. Again, mashing A everywhere, because that's what you do. Just to skip cutscenes and things. There's a tutorial as normal on this level, which you have to do before shopping. I put shop on my splits because sometimes I forget to shop, and if you forget to shop, you can lose a lot of time later on in the game. I am just off in terms of money. I am 3 gold off, unfortunately, so I'm going to have to make do without the sweeper pack. Which is fine. I'm actually going to save a little bit of time from not equipping the sweeper pack there, but it just means I'm going to have to be a lot more careful about trash management as we go throughout the run. Really unlucky, to be honest. I'd say you can afford the sweeper pack on most runs, but for some reason it always seems there's a bit of RNG in the amount of money you have. We're going to use the fast forward to completely do this mission differently to how intended, and we're going to basically jump straight to the end of the mission. Unfortunately, these lids are a death trap when you have fast forward. It's so easy to accidentally kill yourself. If I keep jumping there, that will basically delay this cutscene over here. For the Seeker's Passageway spawning, and we can actually skip a text box at the end of the mission there by continually jumping. And again, also mission 2 in Sweepers 3, we've kind of also completely broken. Mostly due to the fast forward time control being completely busted. Just going to grab a little bit of trash over here because I'm going to use it to kill the enemy up here, who happens to drop you a fast forward, which is absolutely perfect because we're going to use it to skip the entire mission, basically. Like that. The movement right there is a bit particular because you have to jump underneath an invisible wall. There's an invisible wall, but luckily it doesn't extend out to the entire platform, and you can jump underneath it by jumping onto that little ledge. Again, I need to be careful here that I've only got 5 trash capacity, rather than the usual 15 for this point. So I'm just going to use that fast forward as early as possible, kill all these enemies. And grab another fast forward. Go kill these last couple enemies. And hopefully that was an alright split. It seems like I'm losing a little bit of time there, but there's a little bit of RNG to where the fast forward drops are. Split a little bit early there, but it's not the end of the world. Again, here we're just going to skip the level, as always. Some super levels have a stage end, but not all of them do. I don't really understand it why. Saved a bit of time there, actually. I probably would have saved more if I didn't split early on my previous split. Sweepers 4 is an interesting mission because we also do this level not really as intended. And also this is where you unlock something called time control combos, which they allow you to use time controls, multiple time controls at the same time, which for the most part is going to be slow and fast forward because for some reason when you combine a slow with anything else it doubles the duration of the time control, so we get double duration fast forward, which makes you, in this game the fast forward makes you super run and super jump. But your character's also somewhat hard to control when you use fast forward. Yeah, so what we're going to do here, rather than opening the door on the left, we're going to attempt to jump onto that wheel, which I failed, unfortunately. I've got to kill this guy for his pause crystals, because we're going to use those later. I messed up again, unfortunately. That's all my time save gone, and more. And I messed it up again. This strat normally isn't too bad, to be honest, but apparently today is not my day. I did actually practice it earlier as well, which is... Eventually I got it, but took me over a minute, which obviously going to come down to about a minute time loss there. But to be honest, you can't expect every run to be a perfect run. Honestly, I wouldn't say that strat is too bad, to be honest, normally. What we're going to do over here is we're going to use pause records to deal with 2 of the time barrier monsters at once. You can actually complete this level by either defeating 4 time barrier monsters, or you can shoot out enough of those pause bubbles. Killing the monsters is a lot quicker because there's only 4 of them, whereas I think you need to go for 7 of the pause bubbles. I think additionally also when you shoot a pause bubble it always ends your pause time control. Yeah, obviously we're already losing 30 seconds and we haven't even finished the level. On the way out we're just going to go jump over this door on the way in, that you're supposed to come in on the way in. Like that. And you might have seen those fast forwards at the bottom there. We're going to use those in this mission. I think they're there to stop you from soft locking if that octoballoon hits you over to that platform. But unfortunately, yeah, we lost 50 seconds there, which is quite unfortunate, but it is what it is. Yeah, there's no reason not to suck up lots of ammo over here because you still have to wait loads of time at the end here, unfortunately, after that quick time event. Or they're called reactives in this game. I mean, this is an early 2000s platformer, so of course there's quick time events. And I was messing up a strat there. We're going to use a fast forward here basically to try and jump over this door, which is not intended, but it's faster than completing the puzzle. There we go. Yeah, again, I'm losing a bit of time there. But you can't expect everything to go properly. I don't know why recently I've really been struggling at that strat and runs. Yeah, again, this mission has two ways of completing it. You can defeat 6 time barrier monsters, like we did in the previous level, or you can mesh 5 cogwheels. We're actually going to do the level basically backwards. And mesh 5 cogwheels. And then go out the door that we came in through. And press A to start this cutscene for some reason, because that's a mechanic. We're going to lose a little bit of time though, because we didn't get the door skip first try. Yeah, any chance of world record now is unfortunately gone. But that's, to be honest, that's kind of what I expected. Getting world record first try on a no reset commentated run is going to be nigh on impossible. But it isn't impossible. It isn't impossible, to be honest. I was kind of hoping that would happen, to be honest, but it didn't, as I kind of expected. What we're going to do here is we're going to use record outside of this guy's body. So we can shoot him on the inside and outside at the same time, which will let him be vulnerable. We're also going to use 3 bombs to kill him because you see the bombs, they're apples, and that's healthy food. So therefore they do extra damage to him, which is kind of funny. I'm not going to give too much insight in the story of the game, but the reason why this guy exists is because due to some events in the story, his dreams start becoming real, and one of his dreams he was rampaging, therefore he starts rampaging in this area. I golded that, surprisingly. And the next up is Tom Tom 4, which unfortunately has one of the only strats in the game, which is not skill. It is completely luck. And therefore I really do not like it. Again, Tom Tom 4, we are going to do things completely not as intended. Again, I've got to do a tutorial first though, as you always do. Or a rank up exam as the game calls them. One of the downsides to buying the firework is it means we don't get the bazooka. It unfortunately doesn't do as much damage as the bazooka, but it still one-shots most guards. We used to buy the bazooka back in the day, but then the Tom Tom 3 gap jump was discovered. And I got good RNG first try on that strat. We're going to use, basically, that guy to hit us across there to skip the mission start cutscene. And then we're going to get him to hit us across this gap over here to take us straight to the end of the mission. And that's basically it for Tom Tom 4. Amazingly, I got everything first try, which means I shouldn't be losing any time, but... Yep, and you can see that rider bike to the opposite shore is it's a line of dialogue which normally appears at the start of the mission, and then this is the end of mission cutscene. I lost half a second during that split, which was probably due to something like jumping at the start of this level rather than moving forward. Because for some reason this is the only level in the game which does not have a cutscene when you instantly load into it. We're going to use a pause here to kill this dragon, because if you don't kill that dragon, he will pause you and make you lose time. And by throwing it down a bit earlier, it means that that spiker may have just ruined my day, because I need to grab that pole there, which I didn't manage to. Which means I'm going to lose a bunch of time on this split now, because it means I'm going to lose out on a cycle of the cogwheels. But it is what it is. Yeah, you can see that the slow cogwheel cycle I'm going to lose out on. Somehow I messed that up as well. Okay, I got them both, but I didn't actually lose too much time there. Other than losing out on a cycle, which was that spiker's fault, to be honest. Annoying, but it is what it is. We're going to grab the meat from this box, because we're going to be doing more damage boosting. We could probably get away with taking a little bit less health, but you never know how many tries some things will take. Mainly alluding to a strat later on in the run called Pipe Skip. To be honest, I think in Mission 2, the only intended thing you do is the jump right at the start of the level, which to be honest isn't even that difficult of a jump. You actually skip an entire floor of the area because you do that. This level is another advantage to why we use the firework, because firework scares cats. So you can just fire your firework a bunch of times and the cats will just start ignoring you for some reason. Apart from that guy, which is a bit worrying, but I think he shouldn't bother me. Yep, they're just letting me take the treasure away. And I lost 1.5 seconds there, which is kind of sad, but it is what it is. Probably because I could have dropped down a little bit earlier. This boss fight can be quite annoying to do with the firework, because the firework has a ridiculous amount of knockback. We're going to pause them in order to make it a bit easier, but... And then hopefully my teammates can deal with them, with the last one guy, which they can. Okay, my teammate's making me lose time here. Yeah, I lost about 7 seconds, not being able to kill them that quickly. Unfortunately, the firework is a little bit annoying to kill them with, because every enemy, once you shoot them, has iframes, and then they get knocked back load, and then they'll dodge your shots. Might be worth looking into potentially doing that in first person, but I feel like that might require a bit too much skill with all the knockback. And then for some reason over here, there's 2 bonus levels, which, to be honest, I think these levels really just well, these exist. They make sense from this level doesn't make much sense really from a plot perspective, but the TomTom one does make some sense from a plot perspective, so that both teams end up with an equal amount of big crystal fragments. It's to do with the story of this game, which I haven't really gone too much into because I'm not really an expert on it, really. Hopefully that'll kill that guy. It doesn't. I'm going to have to be really careful now because it means I can't be hit again in the entire run. I need to... There's compulsory damage in Sweepers 5. And as far as I'm aware, I have no retries. One of the guys saw me as well, which is absolutely awful. So I'm just going to have to hope that he keeps missing me. Which he doesn't. That's terrible. I never knew that could happen. The guy decided to shoot one of the cats down there. For some reason on this level, I do the same thing every single time, and sometimes they see me, sometimes they don't. But it's really annoying that I have that amount of health for Sweepers 5, because I'm going to need to kill myself. Collect a retry and kill myself, because... This is the hardest strat in the run, by the way. The strat called Crane Skip. And I already messed it up because I didn't mash fast enough. And I messed it up again. Yeah, it's really, really precise, this strat. Like, you need to be hit within a... Basically, the guards will shoot you a certain amount of time after seeing you. It is a consistent amount of time, but... You have to be consistently in the air doing a double jump at that moment in time. I got a second try, which is... It's alright, not too bad. Fortunately, my PB did not get a second try. Got it first try, so... I know what we're actually going to do is we're going to fall down onto that laser there. Which then allows... for some reason, when this cutscene happens, the guard that spawns from these lasers despawns. And then when we hit the laser, he spawns again, but... Usually we can clear this area before he shoots us. Like that. Yeah, unfortunately that was third. Actually, it was third try Crane Skip because I didn't mash fast enough the first time. So I'm going to lose quite a bit of time on that, unfortunately. Again, we're just going to escape here. That strat, basically, Crane Skip, allows you to... Normally, you have to use a crane. There's a little box that gets moved by a crane from one side of the map to the other. And you have to ride that box. And it takes ages. It doesn't move very quickly. But what you can actually do is you can damage boost straight to where the big crystal fragment is, right at the end of the level. But it is a really precise trick. And to be honest, I probably didn't even save any time by doing it, because I couldn't get it until third try. It is probably the most difficult strat in the run. Although also TomTom 5, as you can see by my splits, we basically just skip mission 1 entirely. Normally mission 1 works that there's basically a tank blocking the way. A big tank of oil. And you have to destroy that tank to get behind it. But a long time ago, actually, we discovered that there's a damage boost you can do to just get behind the tank straight away. We call it pipe skip because I didn't get it, unfortunately. Not first try. Didn't get it second try, and I've got to get it third try or I'm dead. I didn't get it third try, so I've got to kill myself and retry. Yeah, this is the reason why we take as much health as possible, because... I got it fourth try. It's quite a precise strat, and it's a lot harder with the firework than it is with the bazooka. Which I don't really understand why, but it just is. And then basically, now that we're behind the pipe, we're going to do the contents of mission 2. but before mission 1 is cleared. And what that's going to do is all the enemies in this area are not here. There's basically nothing in this area. So rather than having to worry about killing enemies or trapping them in space bubbles as we used to do a long time ago, we can just clear mission 2 with no detriment at all. Nothing really slowing us down. And then the only downside to that, obviously, is it's quite boring, really. Pushing all these things with nothing really happening. Yeah, this one's probably going to be somewhere around a 112, I reckon. Which would still be good enough for second place on the leaderboards. Maybe a 111? Although, to be honest, still, there's easily another minute that can come off the world record for this run. And then over here, we're going to have to... For some reason, your game normally soft locks, except where if you approach the end of the mission by collecting that left coin and approach from the left, you get the cutscene here of you pushing the boulder down, even though the boulder's already been pushed down. And we're going to clear mission 1 like that. And then for mission 2, we're just going to move into the area of it and then move out of it before hitting the ground, which is going to allow us to finish mission 2 whilst in a really easy area to escape the area from. Like that. As you can see, this is what happens when you start mission 2. The door closes behind you, so you get trapped in this area. And there's an emergency and stuff. And then you complete the mission because you've already done it. Yeah, lost about 30 seconds there to pipe skip, which is a shame really. I used to be pretty consistent at pipe skip, but I'm not as good as I used to be. Gonna lose a little bit more time there by falling down. You're not supposed to fall down there. But what's good is we can basically leave the way we came, rather than having to go through an entire escape sequence, which saves a bunch of time. And then there's a boss here, which is quite similar to the Giant Mandrake in a way. I really like the arena for it though, which is honestly a pretty cool arena, I think. This game did the spherical worlds before Super Mario Galaxy did. Yeah, it was pretty decent first cycle. And then hopefully, yeah, pretty decent second cycle as well. Wasn't a 2 cycle, but a 2 cycle is possible in this fight. I'm actually going to gold that by a second. Yep, and then finishing up, we've got Sweepers 5, which mission 1 we do basically as intended. Mission 2 we use a fast forward. Well, to be fair, we do use a fast forward slow on both missions. Which, as I said before, has a double duration, which means that you get the effect of fast forward for 20 seconds rather than 10. Which you can basically use to finish any mission very quickly. Unfortunately, it's not useful in Sweepers 4 because you can't mesh the cogwheels very quickly when the slow is active. Yep, I'm gonna need to pick up a retry here and kill myself because I do not have enough health to actually, to be fair, I could actually go without it, but it would require a bit of skill, and I would rather just not have to worry about it because being hit once isn't exactly unlikely, and I would have to go back to my last checkpoint if I get hit a single time now. This mission has two ways of finishing. You can either basically take out a bunch of fires, put out a bunch of fires, or you can basically turn off these oil dispensers. I think that's what they are. Basically flick some levers around the map. The advantage to doing fires is there's no cutscene when you break a fire. But when you turn off the oil dispensers, there's a cutscene of the oil dispensers turning off. There's a small chance of me getting hit here, which is slightly worrying. But the guy didn't seem to notice me. Well, he has now, but it's too late. We're just going to go around the map, disabling these fires. Kill this skeleton because he gives us a fast forward guaranteed. And then we're going to use that fast forward to clear the mission. I'm going to be ballsy and go in front of that ball. Which was the right call. And then over here, we're just going to use a fast forward slow to basically finish the mission. Jumping over the trigger for that reactive or quick time event. And then that's going to trigger the end of mission cutscene. And we're just going to finish the mission now. Lost about a second there. Wasn't really too bad at all. I could have saved a little bit of time if I got two fast forwards, and I could have finished the mission about a second quicker. For mission 2, we're kind of going to do this level. You can either kill 6 time barrier monsters, sorry, to open this door right here, or you can find another way to the spaceship, which is, to be honest, really easy to find. Gonna grab these 2 coins here because for some reason they stop you from crashing. You will always crash when you're doing this strat if you don't grab these 2 coins. We're gonna use checkpoint invincibility there to walk on the lava there for a second. And we're gonna have a pretty good split there. And then for this boss, we're going to have to be really careful, because if we get hit once, we're going to have to retry the boss from the start. Normally, also, this is a fight that you will intentionally get yourself hit on. But you can, I guess you can avoid that if you just be patient. Normally, you have a very small chance of getting a healing item inside these pillars, which normally really annoys me. But in this mission, I really wouldn't mind, to be honest. I just died. I have to restart the entire mission. Yeah, I forgot to dodge the backwards shockwave because I'm not normally used to the experience of having so little health at this point. There we go. I dodged it this time. Unfortunately, really annoying that he's going to have to... We have to basically kill him over there, which means we can't get a quick kill. Especially if you miss your shot like that. And again. Yeah, this is the reason why I should have looked for a retry. Because now I'm lacking in trash. I've never ever been hit by these landmines, but it's not impossible. I'm sorry, but why did they shoot to the right there? That was the most dumb thing ever. Yeah, this is a really slow fight because, again, because of the health situation. It's just going to lose me a crap ton of time. It normally does a quick kill for this guy, which you can kill him pretty quickly, but because I didn't have a rewind, because I didn't have any health, I couldn't end that rewind early, which means that he'd moved miles away from those 2 pillars. Normally what you do is you kite him towards those 2 pillars, shoot him, use the rewind, and then you just keep breaking those 2 pillars and using them over and over again to kill him. I can grab health here, actually. There's no tutorial for the final boss. It is the only time in the game where you do not have a tutorial. That's quite an unfortunate time loss, really. Really due to me being protected on the Sweeper's bonus level. Really, the lesson to learn is that I forgot to take the health in Sweepers 4, which I normally take. And now I only have 5 ammo, so I need to basically, you know, I can't be sweeping up trash anymore. If you keep these guys on your screen at all times, they will there's only 7 left now, so I can just go kill a bunch. Yeah, if it didn't take health there, I would have died. Nice. Okay, thank God, teammates. If my teammates did not hit that guy there, I would have had to have taken some drastic measures. Now, this final boss has 3 phases. To be honest, it's not the most interesting final boss in the world. You just kill some monsters first for phase 1. Kill some more monsters for phase 2, and basically collect while collecting the crystal fragments that he steals from you. Because you try and use the crystal fragments that you collect throughout the game to try and defeat him, but you need all of them. Yeah. Normally, if you're not looking at monsters, if the monsters are off your screen, they'll go back into their little eggs, which will obviously you can't kill them when they're in a little egg form. And if you can, in the first part of the fight, get them down to 7 monsters. Anyway. For the final boss, you basically just, for the final section of the fight, the Tom-Toms come over to help, and then you all fire a shot at them at the same time, using the multi-lock-on system, and unfortunately, I didn't get a 112 like I said I would. But a 113 would still be good enough for 2nd place. It's a respectable time. And hopefully, yeah, that's the Blinx 2 any % speedrun, really. Hope my commentary was alright. It's my first time doing something like this, so I'm a little bit... No, I'm not too experienced with the matter. Hopefully it was enjoyable enough for anyone watching. I will post this to my YouTube, so people can see. I don't know, the epilogue of this game is way too long, so in all honesty, I think that will be all. Thank you for watching.